Bailee, let's start with you. You started acting so young, and I have to admit that we continue to rewatch you and just go with it and parental guidance all the time.
Very
but
much. I'm
well,
glad.
but so I'm guessing your summers were otherwise filled and camp was not part of it. So did this film feel like you now have the shared experience that we all do?
Yeah, 100%. I think it was the closest to a summer camp experience that I could get. And then and then some. It was like I had all of the camp activities that I would have wanted to exist within like filming and like all those things, that my little self would have missed. And then plus all the fun of camp. So I had a good time.
Kevin, singing was already part of your skill set, but to do a musical, it's got, these big numbers of reimagined songs and choreography. So kind of what did it take to kind of bring you guys up to speed for production?
It took a lot of rehearsal. The rehearsal process was arduous. So we spent a lot of time rehearsing the dance numbers, equally as much time recording the soundtrack. The reason why it all looks so great and so easy on film is just because we put a ton of hours into it and we spent so much time preparing.
And Bailee, Avery's dad, he runs the camp. She's very well liked, but perfectionism, it comes with a weight, right? So maybe talk a little bit about what she's going through and then share in turn in your own life how you've been able to kind of silence the outside noise.
Well, Avery, yeah. I mean, when we meet her, she's kind of the girl next door. You know what I mean? She's the one who loves everybody and sees the best in everybody and always seems to be really, happy for the most part. We find out that her dad runs a camp and her mom passed away from cancer. And so that's a weight that she's always kind of walking around with, but kind of, I think, feels the need to always be there for other people and have this sort of persona, especially when it comes to the camp and making sure everyone's happy. And I remember when we were in rehearsals for, and we were working the scene with Will and Avery in the garden, and I was having a conversation with Alan Powell, who had written the script, and our producers, and I was like, it would be really cool for me, especially as a girl, to get to touch upon the idea of perfection. Because especially now more than ever, I mean, we live in the day age of social media and everything is altered and fixed. And there is a certain level of perfection that you hold yourself to, whether it's beauty standards or what you're doing or how many followers you have or how many likes you have. And at the end of the day, it's just so unachievable and it's draining and it is exhausting. And I feel that on myself. I think as I've grown up in this business, and even more so when you get older, you start to become more aware of the eyes on you or the opinions. And I never want to let anyone down. I always want to like do the best, but at the end of the day, we're only human. And you've got to, you just got to follow your heart and trust your gut instincts and let yourself take a breath and be yourself. So I'm happy that message is able to be a part of this film.
So Will, he feels the need to kind of hide his past. He feels the need not to be completely, forth or honest, which I'm sure many individuals, regardless of what they've gone through in the past, kind of feel the need to do. So talk a little bit about him, and then in turn in your own life, how do you try to remain as authentic as possible?
I try to remain authentic as possible just by being myself. And I think that was something that we see Will learning for the first time in the film. I know I've had to learn that myself in my early 20s. It's a significant period of growth. Every year is not the same when you're in your early 20s. And as I approach my mid 20s, I feel like I understand now, so it's been a huge growing process for me, and to be able to learn from Will and in turn, Will learn a little bit from my process, and that synergy between the two, me and Will, is a really important part of my process and what we see in the film. This is the